You got anything for us on this cold open?
Go with it. I'm debilitated still.
You're debilitated still?
Yeah, some asshole made me help him move.
Well, let's be honest here. I'm not going to name names, but I got a moving company to come help me move to my new house. And I actually, in the middle of this, one of the guys actually put his hoodie on, music in his ears, and went and sat in the truck and basically said, I'm out. Like, he dropped the mic and went to the truck. So when we got to the house, I just told them to go ahead and put the stuff in the garage and take off. And Zeke, I want to publicly say thank you very, very, very much for coming over today in the rain and helping me move that stuff from the garage up to the second floor. You are a gentleman and a scholar, and thank you.
I'm just worried about who's going to wipe my butt tomorrow because I ain't going to be able to.
Well, I've been doing this for a week, so it's about time. You know when you get that pain like right in your elbows, but it's not on the outside of your elbow, it's on the inside of your elbow?
Like tendonitis?
No, it's like it's the tendons. Like it's
well, that's why I said
right here,
tendonitis.
Yeah. But it's not tendonitis. It's like right here. It's the muscle. It's not my tendon.
Well, a tendon's not a muscle. It's a tendon.
And you're still an asshole.
Well, some things never change.
Merry Christmas. This is our Christmas show. Let's start it. Hello, everyone. My name is John Edwards, and with me is Zeke Baker, and together we make the Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, thank you for making us a part of your Christmas. Say hello to the folks, Zeke Baker.
Feliz Navidad.
It is the Christmas show of Dad's Drinking Bourbon. If I edit this correctly, if I have time, this will come out on Christmas Day. And what a crazy year it's been, buddy.
Well, you should have time now that all your furniture's been moved.
Well, I still have stuff in the apartment I have to get out before Thursday.
Oh, well, don't call me.
I'm not. You're not going to be here. You're going to be in Chicago.
It's good you're aware of that. I wouldn't answer. New number, who dis?
You were nice enough. Thank you very much for coming over. I really appreciate it. Can't say it again. It makes up for all the other shit you give me. You know you owed me, so
what?
Shut up.
Maybe.
Maybe. Zeke is an asshole. That's all I'll say. I love him like a brother, but I hate him like a brother. You're a dick.
I mean, if I don't give you a hard time, who's going to?
Everybody else in the world.
Not in the same way. So 2019, though.
It is 2019. It's almost over. To ring it in, we have two very, very, very special guests. We are on location today at the Whiskey House in 12 South in Nashville, Tennessee. Our guests, you know them, you love them. Say hello to everybody. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself because you're going to do a better job than me.
Andrew Harris, General Counsel of the Whiskey House. Glad to be here.
This is JB. I'm just glad I wasn't moving today.
Wow, you really Ricky Bobbied that up, JB.
All right, we're at the Whiskey House. God, thank y'all for being here. What a year 2019 was.
Well, Andrew was all up in your habeas corpus, was about to use his jurisprudence on you, and then we whipped out the microphones and we said, let's talk about 2019 with some friends sitting around, sharing some pours, having a good time. And let's talk about everything that happened in 2019, what we liked. Let's talk about the year,
well,
right?
Yeah. And, I mean, let's be honest. It's after midnight. You've got a group of guys that have been hanging out for a minute. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's having, a good time in the fellowship and the friends. And that's where we really wanted to wrap the year up and bring it all home with, so to speak, was, not necessarily being at our home, but being at a home with friends and having a good time and just sharing random pours. Because if you're not doing that, then you're not doing it right.
Well, that makes me really happy because that sums up the Whiskey House. And I got to tell you, in 2019, if it came in a bottle, it was good. If it came on the news, it was not. So.
Well, after midnight, we're going to let it all hang down. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. 2019 at the Whiskey House. The Whiskey House had an amazing year, JB, right? I mean, between the barbecues, all the guests of people that are coming here, the Whiskey House membership probably grew 3 times in 2019.
We doubled. Yeah,
good job.
We're thank you. We're very excited to just have a bunch of people who want to hang out together and taste and learn about different whiskeys, not just the ones we all love. You guys do it really well. And here's to dads drinking bourbon. And if dads aren't under your Christmas tree, I don't know what is.
Well, it's fun too. I mean, simply we've all seen Nashville grow and what it's become, and the people that travel and are here more often than they used to be. And at the same time, we all get the, hey, I've heard about this place. You think you're free one day? I got a little bit of time. Can you get me in over there? You know anybody? Like, so-and-so said it was a real good time.
Well, you guys show a good time online. We're really just here so that people can get together. That's what we're about. I can't say it any other way other than I'm sitting here in a house with 2,000 plus bottles of open whiskey and a coffee table in front of us with 25 different bottles that people brought here tonight. And they called and say, well, what can we bring? And I'm like, you can't bring anything. And they do. And it's all different and new.
Some of it's rum, some of it's whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
It's the thing. JB's using his radio voice tonight, though. Have you noticed that, Zeke? It's like, once you get talking to him, he's like, hi, I'm JB. Welcome to the Whiskey House.
Sorry. They told me to be quiet.
No. I want you to be yourself.
It's a sign. Think about it. Do I speak overly Southern during this, like compared to a phone call? Me and JB are on the same wavelength here.
He's very deliberate, like you.
Well, there's shooting the breeze, and then, well, if somebody's going to hear this, I can't, sound too country.
I don't know. Zeke sounds pretty country a lot of times.
I figure there may be some ladies listening, so I'm just trying to give them that radio talk.
Yeah, it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
But I think the Whiskey House is much more than about our collection of bourbon, which is substantial. It's about kind of the friendships and the fellowship and just spending time with people you like. That's what I love most about being affiliated with the house.
Well, when Zeke's here, I try to normally stay about 3 miles away from the house, but when he's not here, I come by.
Well, no, I think everybody gives you the same answer, essentially, of, yeah, there's a lot of bottles here and great booze, and you could literally try almost anything you think you may or may have not ever wanted to. But at the end of the day, when people leave, for the most part, it's not, oh, I tried this, this, and this. It's, oh, I met this person. I hung out with that person. We shot the shit. We did yada, yada. And, you just build more relationships. So having the opportunity to foster that is what I've always seen the greatest benefit from, is being a medium or a place to where everyone can get together.
I'm so glad you said that, because tonight there were probably 15 or 18 people here tonight, and nobody left here talking about the 3 or 4 things that they tried that they had never tried before. Patrick, Stevie brought stuff here tonight nobody had ever tried, but everybody will talk about that night and the people. They won't talk about the whiskey.
No,
Yeah.
The only thing people were talking about that Patrick brought was the weight of the topper, because Zeke was threatening to throw one of them at me.
Oh, no, he was going to.
I know.
You're lucky I can't move both arms.
Well, you can't throw very well anyway.
You got a big head.
No, not as big as yours, Mr.
Touche. Damn.
How many rungs do you have left on that hat?
3.
That's pretty far out.
Yeah, there's 3.
Point Edwards for the show.
Now, let's talk about 2019. There was a lot of good stuff that came out. I mean, if you think about the stuff that happened this year, a lot of it was at Buffalo Trace with new stuff. We had Amaranth of the Gods. We had the Weller Foolproof. Foregate had some things that came out this year. What else was brand new? There was another King of Kentucky, but I mean,
Saffel
was new this year. What brand new SKUs came out this year? We had the Pinhook Bourbon War.
Well, I think some of it was things changing too. Like you mentioned, King of Kentucky, and we haven't had a chance to get to any of the 2019. But from all things I've heard, 2019 is much different and much better than 2018. Cream of Kentucky, not King. The Rutledge Project.
Yeah.
I mean, batch 2, it's good. And then you had people look at what all Beam did. I mean,
Legion.
Not necessarily under the Knob Creek label, but Beam created a whole bunch of new SKUs this year. And I think, granted, all of us really looked at it initially as they're just trying to make more money. But if you get into it, which we try to around here, there's good juice. I mean, Little Book 3.
Absolutely.
Even at 120, nobody's talking about it. There's no secondary buzz. It's easily one of the best pours I've had this year.
Little Book 3 was great.
I mean, and again, like no one talks about it.
JB was going to jump in with something.
Well, I was going to say, and maybe it was just because I was behind, but 2019 for me was the MGP year.
You think finally? You don't think it was 2018?
It may have been 2018, but it seemed that 2019 was the year where everybody started losing their minds about the value of an MGP.
Yeah.
Because I've been drinking these Belle Meads and buying these Belle Meads here in Nashville because I could go over to the gift shop, right, and buy them. Nobody was offering $250, $500, $750. Nobody was going nuts about these bottles. And then all of a sudden, there were all these things coming out, and people were claiming, oh, it's an MGP, it's an MGP. In the past, in 18, we were tasting these whiskeys from these distilleries, and then we were saying, oh, it's an MGP. But now we're talking about, oh, it's an MGP, you should buy this. And it just seemed like it felt different to me.
Well, I'm with that, and I think it's not necessarily the fact of releases, but the fact of the secondary markets. They haven't stopped or peaked or plateaued or whatever you want to call it. They just keep growing. I think that's probably the most unique part about that is simply, and I guess the fact that nothing new's coming out either doesn't help the fact, but I mean, the evaluations, they're not slowing down.
Well, the other thing too, JB, is I would say you got to go back and listen to a show that we did last year on whether or not MGP jumped the shark. And I don't know if you're very familiar with the term jump the shark, but it is the term. Yeah, it's when Fonzie tried to jump the shark in Happy Days. And there was a guy, John Hine, who now works for the Howard Stern Show, but he had a blog called Jump the Shark, and he would name the point in time when all these TV shows basically jumped the shark and started to not be as good as they were
classically
before.
Bring like the new little kid in. That's always like a classic jump the shark thing.
Or you change, like somebody's married, gets married, or gets divorced, or something, like in Bewitched, it was when the next Darren came in.
Yeah.
In Friends, I think it was when Ross and Rachel broke up and got back together for the 5th time.
Well, it's always you have the tension, like Moonlight, where you have the tension, then they get together, and you want them to get together, but then it ruins kind of the tension.
Yeah. So Zeke and I had a show last year, did MGP jump the shark? The thing was that the stuff everybody loved, I still think the best Belle Meads still don't have any love. And that's the Barrels and Brews pick, the Craft Brewed pick, the Radnor pick, back when we could get them in town for $50 to $60 a pick. That time from September of 2006 to November of 2006, that's when all those things were distilled. The Smooth Ambler, the Blom, the Bellmead, the really, really good MGP was distilled in that 3-month time period, and it wasn't even MGP, it was LDI at the time. So Zeke and I kind of talked about that. It's like this other stuff that's coming out, I almost think it's riding the wave. Smooth Ambler set it off, and things have been riding the wave. For some reason, Bellmead does not get the same secondary love unless it's a honey pick.
I'm thank you for that segue, because I'm looking between y'all. I'm looking across the room between the two of you, and I see the Black Bells back there and the honeys above all those other Bellmeads that I collect. And it blows my mind that they have to finish them to get the love, but those finishes now are way more expensive than any other MGP that I know about. And so to me, 2019 was the finish year. And maybe the honeys came out before that in 18 and the Black Bells in 18. But golly, there are people out there taking some great whiskey and doing something else to it.
I like the honey. Zeke's not a big honey guy. I like the honey and I like the Black Bell. But
I'm just not a fan of them to the level that they sell for. I've had countless single barrels. We can see plenty of them right here that if I gave to any whiskey enthusiast or shit, maybe even a novice, and said, try this and try this, which one you think's better? I wouldn't bet the farm, but I'd bet a fair amount of it that, they're going to go with just the regular single barrel. And that's to me what's always just seemed so quirky. And I think we've always seen it, but especially looking at a couple of, we've got a Weller Foolproof sitting here on the table. And we all know what those started going for. And I think they're still at, $350 or more easily. And we've cracked more than a few of them. I don't think anyone that's tasted the majority of them would spend that amount of money on damn near any of them.
I agree completely.
And it just almost seems that even more so now, more people are spending more money on whiskey they haven't tasted and may not live up to the cost.
I'm glad you said that, Zeke, because I'm a layperson, whiskey-wise, and I appreciate being here. I did this because...
Come on, you are far from a layperson at this point.
All right, well, I'm a layperson who brings whiskey people together. And so I did that for my own... I did that selfishly to be able to bring whiskey geeks like these two guys to my place. And honestly, if you want my input on that, you can call me and I'll sell it to you. But these guys, what concerns me about 2019 in looking at this table and looking around this room is that there aren't that many new things here. When somebody said to me an hour or 2 hours ago, well, how about 2019? What was the greatest stuff of 2019? And I thought, well, it was this Eagle Rare 2019, or it was this Four Roses Small Batch Limited Edition 2019, or it was this Birthday Bourbon 2019. And it was all these great whiskeys, but where's the new whiskey? And
I'll tell you right here, this still... So I've been sitting here tonight. I just had the William LaRue Weller, and I had the Eagle Rare. Both are phenomenal pours. I think I like the Eagle Rare a little bit more than the William LaRue.
Agreed.
This year, and I like that the proof has gone up a little bit higher. I love the Handy from this year.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Stag Here's the thing. I'll tell you, everybody was complaining about the Stag going down to 116 proof.
Great pour, though.
It's still, I'm never disappointed with the Stag.
If anybody wants to sell me a case of Stag at retail, I will buy 12 of them.
I will take it. It's still a great pour. But here's the thing. Here's the new thing that I think is getting overlooked. I'm going to get on a soapbox here for a second.
Go.
WB Saffel, I think, is one of the best things to come out this year. I will tell you how much I loved the Four Roses Small Batch Limited Edition this year. I was a huge fan of that. But this Saffel at 107 proof, bringing back the Whiskey Barons, brand out of extinction. I told Wild Turkey, I told the Campari rep, I told the Russells when I was up there on picks. I said, if you took the Saffel and made it a 750, it could easily be a Master's Keep. Take a sip of it. I think people would kill to have this. So if you think about it, it's a $50 bottle. If you put this at a 750, you could charge $130 for this. I mean, I don't want to tell anybody I'm advocating for the price going up, but you could take this $50 375, put it in a 750, call it a Master's Keep, and everybody would be very, very happy.
No, I mean, the only reason I don't talk about it too much outside of, group chats and private messages is simply and selfishly.
It's a limited edition.
Well, simply and selfishly, I wouldn't mind seeing some stores that have a few of them. If they marked them down a little bit because nobody was talking about it and they weren't selling, then Zeke, you might get a deal.
Say if it goes down to 40 or 35.
Yeah, I mean, you got to close out stuff at some point.
You never know. Have you had the Saffel yet?
I have not, actually.
All right, well.
Jesus, son.
Here. What are you waiting for?
I will say, though, too, kind of back to...
Let's get you another... Just take a sip out of the... Don't worry. We're all friends. Back, 107 proof.
Looking back to, Stag this year, though, it is a great pour. Where I really equated it to was simply... All right, remember when we had Booker's 30th?
Yep.
Booker's 30th was a good pour on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But did it punch you in the face like Booker's any other blend or batch does and what you expect a Booker's to do?
But that was one of those things where we said, if you got a regular Booker's and put it side by side with the Booker's 30th, you might be a little disappointed with Booker's 30th.
That's where I think, GTS went this year is still a great pour. It just doesn't quite have that pop that every other year has.
So what you're saying is if you pay $160 for it and then you see a Stag Junior on the shelf at $60, you might be a little disappointed getting the $160 Stag.
Depending on the batch.
True. I still love a Stag. I still love getting a
132.2 is really good.
But Zeke, you and I...
That's my subtle hint for people.
You and I and a bunch of other people here, we did a blind tasting of the last 7 or so years of Stag. And the 19 held its own. I don't think anyone thought the 19 was bad.
Here,
no, that nobody thought it was bad.
JP, just take a sip of this. Nobody will.
If you've had Stag from previous years, which it just has more of that pop, that punch, that bam, I'm big, bold. I'm usually 130 plus proof, and then when you go below 120, you're just not going to have that. And it's not like you're blaming the whiskey. It's just, hey, if it's at this level, odds are it's not going to have this component.
In the blind tasting, I preferred the hazmat one and the ones that were above 130. But the recent Stag I think is still very, very good.
Yeah, it's not saying it's bad. It's just when you put it up against all its siblings, so to speak, it just doesn't quite.
We murdered it that night. That's not fair. I left the room and I just came back. Sorry, but
it's all right. You were off grabbing something crazy.
I was on a mission, and we'll talk about it in a second. But when we tasted the 2019 George T. Stag, there were 10 or 12 of us that night, right? Zeke, you were here.
More than 12.
And
roomful.
And we tasted that 2019 George T. Stag. And then we tasted one of the recent Stag Juniors. And then I got carried away and I went back and got a George T. Stag and brought it out and tasted it.
You've never got carried away, JB.
I think it was
JB has never got.
I think it was the 2000. I think it was the 2010.
JB has never. I've never seen JB like take darkness and make everybody sign their name on it when they walked in the door.
And then maybe the next one we tasted was the 2005.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a known alias, if you have a known alias as Waxcracker, you don't get carried away.
Well,
no one has ever accused JB of never opening a bottle.
So maybe that was the very best night of George T. Stag I ever had. And that makes me feel really bad about how I treated the 2019 George T. Stag because it's a freaking great bottle of whiskey. It just doesn't stand up to the greatest 3 or 4 bottles of whiskey of all time.
But it's not supposed to.
No, and it's not. You're exactly right.
People need to look at it as, are you going to get, it's like, it's Old Faithful. I always tell people, just give me one George T. Stag a year because I know it's going to be good. I know I'm going to be happy with it. But more importantly, JB, have you poured that Saffel?
I absolutely have. Is this $45 or $50 a
Somewhere
bottle?
in there.
It's $50 for a
for this
375.
little bitty bottle that barely fits my big old man hand.
But I've argued, I think the Wild Turkey absolutely needs to make that a 750.
This is a great pour.
It is one of my favorite pours, if not my favorite pour of 2019, because it was just so unexpected.
Don't disagree. Not at all. People call me and say, what about this Saffel? I'm in this liquor store. And people text me and say, do I buy this? And I'm like, well, scroll down and show me the price. If it's $49.99 or $54.99, absolutely buy that. Buy 3. If it's $60 or $70 or $80, somebody's scamming you. But this is a great bottle of whiskey.
And I think the craziest thing about it is it's not like the typical turkey. You know, the Bond and Lillard and the Rippy.
You know about Lallard?
Yeah, Bond and Lillard.
Hey!
The Bond and Lillard and the Rippy, they weren't as good. The second version of the Bond and Lillard was better than the first. That Rippy kind of missed the mark for me, but the Saffel is just a special pour. Now, Andrew, you had the Saffel.
I thought it was delicious. Thank you for sharing that with me. Really
well, it's not my whiskey; it's JB's. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Really tasty.
If not my whiskey of the year, it's the most unsung hero of the year because everybody's talking about King of Kentucky. Like, here's the thing that gets me. Like, Fred Minnick does his blinds. Where did Saffel end up? Because I think that should be hot. There's something about a 107 proof turkey. It just sets it.
You mean where did it end up with against an Old Forester 1910 or 20?
It was 1920 is a good pour.
It is a great pour. Is it top 5 whiskeys in America for you? In the world? Sorry.
Is Dickel bottled in bond?
If you like Flintstone Vitamin.
We just tasted one of the best whiskeys of the year. Thank you. We just tasted one of the best whiskeys of the year. This Saffel is unbelievable.
Well, at the same time, you know, there's people, and especially some of us that grew up in the South and probably had turkey products at too young of an age and also had entirely too much of it at one time, probably. You know, it just it takes a while to come back around to turkey. And I think that's something that, you know, all of our friends, you know, the more we shoot the shit and, you know, converse with, they'll all tell you, like, yeah, I had a little bit of a time coming back to turkey. I had a few bad memories or this and that went on, but once you get past it, you really appreciate it for how good of a whiskey it is.
I'd agree. And some people are 10 million strong and growing. There's a lot going on this year. I mean, I do have to say, though, that Dickel Bottled and Bond, which I'm staring at right behind me, though, that was something new. It was a new offering from Dickel. I didn't hate it.
No.
I don't think it was the whiskey of the year for me.
No, absolutely not.
But I didn't hate it.
It's a good whiskey.
It's a good whiskey at a good price. I kind of always...
I'd chalk that winning whiskey of the year up to being like, say you're in a big blind and you're tasting all kinds of stuff over and over and over. Well, if somebody pours you that toward the end of the night, it's probably are enough different, enough sweet to kind of like catch you off guard. But if you had it in the first 5 pours, I don't think you're going to rank it that high.
That's why. Sorry, John.
No.
We try to give everybody an even kind of a shake here at the Whiskey House, and that Dickel Bottle and Bond for $29.99 or $30.
It's a hell of a pour for $30.
Is a hell of a pour. It is a hell of a pour. Congrats to Nicole, but it does not stand up to the super great whiskeys with a bunch of age.
It's 100% a buy for me at $30.
For sure.
It's 100% a buy for me at $30. I just don't think it's the whiskey of the year.
Absolutely not. Andrew, I just poured these guys one of my favorite pours of the year, a Michter's.
This was also in Minnick's top 5.
This is one of my favorite pours of the year, and I had a really hard time finding it. And
you went in the back for a while.
I brought it out because I wanted to pour it for you guys.
Yeah, that's why it took you so long.
I'm sure I was.
Do you want to tell everybody what you brought out for us?
Well, you said it was Michter's.
I said it was Michter's.
He said it was Michter's. He didn't say what it was.
Batch number 19H1442, bottle 182 of 634.
I want to let you know that Zeke spent $75 because we were going to do a show on this one.
We still might.
We still might, but
we can't do it out of this bottle. Sorry.
No, Zeke bought an ounce and we were going to split it and do a show. It's okay. We have a bunch of stuff.
No, his ounce came out of this bottle.
I know it did. This is a phenomenal pour. This is a Michter's 20-year-old. I love the finish on it. Is great. It's got a nice lingering finish, but nothing is overwhelming. What's the proof on this one, JB?
114.2.
That does not taste 114. This almost feels like it clocks in at a 99, 98.
The biggest thing I noticed is how soft it is for a 20-year plus bourbon in the wood. It's soft. And granted, when we had last year's, we don't know the source, but damn if it doesn't really remind me of just pre-fire, and the term I was, told was simply sweet oak. And you don't get it anymore. Did the juice change for people? Did the wood change? Is it less aged? Who knows? But you can't find bourbons that sit in a barrel that long that are still that sweet, rich of a profile. It just doesn't happen.
It's so good.
It does have a great finish.
And by no means are, obviously like anything else, are we trying to play or hype up a secondary market. We're literally just clamoring on being lucky enough.
Hard to hype up the secondary.
Oh no, but
I don't think Michter's 20 needs us to hype it up at all.
But the MSRP is what, 900?
Hang on, I'm going to get a Miller Lite. I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's literally just saying, hey, we got to taste this. We appreciate how fortunate we are in that to begin with. But damn, it is a good pour. And there are other things out there that sell for similar amounts that if you ever taste it, you'd say, I sure shit wouldn't buy one of those.
Zeke, that's a great point. And honestly, there are dozens of whiskeys each year where somebody says, oh, you got to have this. Oh, you got to buy this. Oh, you got to get this. And I taste them and I think, okay. But this bottle, and I won't be buying another one. I bought this one only because my friends agreed to bottle share it with me, including you guys. Thank you. For what it's worth now, while I've got your attention, get your friends to bottle share these bottles with you. Then it doesn't matter what you pay for it. Buy the daggum ounce of this and taste it. Trust me.
It's still cheaper than a bar.
It is still cheaper than a bar, but JB, I want to piggyback on something you said. You can't talk about 2019 without talking about Weller Full Proof. I mean, let's get the elephant out of the room. It's a good pour. I still like OWA more.
I don't get the frenzy over the full proof.
I don't understand why this was going for $600, $700, $800, $900 on secondary.
Are you asking me this? You asking me this question, John?
I would love to ask you this question because I know you're going to give me the truth. That's why I love you.
Okay, well, thank you. I've been buying whiskey for 5 years so that I could buy more whiskey, and I'm not ashamed to say I buy whiskey and open one of every single bottle that I buy.
As you should.
And thank you, because they make it for us to drink it right, and you guys do a really great job of telling people what they taste like. My goal was getting my friends together locally so we could taste them and then decide if we should buy them. I found that things like this Weller Full Proof, they're not all the same. We're trying to buy them and get one of them here so that everybody can taste it and decide, do they want to go buy it or chase it and trade it? I got to tell you, I'm an OWA fan. I really am. I'm a huge Weller fan. And this Weller Full Proof is a fabulous product. A third of them are above average, way above average. A third are average, and a third are just me, you know.
And I think my problem is I have too much OWA from a few years ago that I kind of look at this and go, I don't know if I want to go out and wait in a line, right? Because a lot of people that were selling the Weller Full Proof, you had to wait in line. You had to sit there for a long time. And, you know, the stuff that I really liked, Barrels and Brews have a great pick. Radnor has a great pick. There's been some other ones in town that have been good. I think Elixir's going to have one soon.
Say right now, half the market's got them in, half hasn't.
We're spoiled here in Nashville, right? Because it's pretty easy, right? If you're in the know to
get a good pick.
Proof.
But no,
Yeah.
I mean,
But if I'm out of the market, I don't know. I wouldn't say spend $3.25 for a bottle.
not at all. And honestly, I'm personally, at least, I'm to the point with even the Weller line to where I really think they should get to the point of what they did with Eagle Rare last year.
Hold off for a year.
Suspend all the picks. Just say, F it, we're not there yet. We need to pump the brakes. Give all this an extra year of time. We understand consumers are going to be pissed, and, you know, it's fine, but we're trying to give you a better product. But if they let all these sit for an extra year, because, I mean, if you look going back to last year even, majority of OWA picks all got bottled the week they turned 7. That's not coincidence when it happens over and over and over. So if they pump the brakes a little bit here, let this get another year of age in it, then it would actually be, you know, the product that I think we're all expecting and wanting. Still won't be worth the secondary coin, but
Hold on, I have to put a logistic thing in here for a second. I'm going to keep this in the show. JB, that Weller Full Proof is the one I just poured for everyone.
no, you poured the Radnor.
No.
I poured the Radnor. Oh,
You poured the Radnor for everybody.
which one do you have there? The Sinkers. Which one do you think is better?
Me, which one do I think is better?
Yeah,
I know which one I think is better. Do you want to taste it, or do you want me to say it?
At this point, we're
Okay.
45 minutes in.
Oh,
You
all
just
right,
give your
sorry.
opinion.
This Sinkers blows this Radnor away.
You think?
Yeah, and Walt is my friend, and I
Walt's a
really
good
like
guy.
that Radnor.
Oh, it's one of the better ones.
Oh, it is absolutely one of the better ones, and I've had, I think, 12 different ones now. I said blows it away. That was not fair. Out of 12 that I've had, 4 are really great. 4 are above average, 4 are average, and 4 are below.
So our friend Dean is going to be really sad to hear that the Sinkers and the Radnor are both good. I think he missed out on both of them. Sorry, Dean.
Enough about.
I was laughing in the background.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, I think we're all in the same sentiment for Weller Foolproof of, Buffalo Trace came out with a new branch in the line. It's what everybody's already been a fan of and clamors over, and now it's even harder to get. And most of us probably flip a bird finger to them for simply making good juice harder to get and or making less good juice.
Well, that pumpkin spice is coming out in 2020.
I know you'll be all over that being the Starbucks.
You know I go to Starbucks and just get a pike, right? Like, I don't get...
I know I don't go to Starbucks, John, and that's all.
I go to Starbucks.
I know you do.
I go to Starbucks to get drip coffee.
You said drip. Now that they've started this, I have tasted several times the Weller Foolproof that is not a store pick.
And it's great.
Let me tell you, it is in the top 2 or 3 of 12 that I've had. If
and
you get
sales for less.
This is your bonus for listening. If you get an opportunity to buy Weller Foolproof with no gold sticker on the side, you buy that freaking bottle and drink it and enjoy it.
No, I was at a Elixir earlier, and I told the guy, I said, he's like, what do you think I should get, this or this? And I said, if it's not the pick, I said, I'm not digging on a pick, but I'm just saying more people that I trust with palates have all consensusly said the non-pick Foolproof blows most of them out of the water.
That's because those guys at Buffalo Trace are the best blenders in the world.
Oh, I mean, if you think about the stuff that they have and the stuff that gets blended.
Yeah, but the old Rip 10 and the Lot B and the 15, all those are blends, right?
I don't care about the Lot B.
These guys are the best blenders in the business.
The only pappy I give a shit about.
At times.
But JB, the only pappy I give a shit about, I mean, one's not a pappy. I like the old Rip 10. I like the Pappy 15. I don't like the stuff that is under the 90 proof Pappy. I feel like.
But now I'm sorry to be ignorant or a novice, but isn't a Pappy 15 107 proof?
Pappy 15 is the only one I love.
And a blend.
Yeah,
it's my favorite.
I'm sorry, a batch.
No, I mean,
right?
You're 100% right.
Yeah,
aren't they?
You're 100% right.
Let me tell you something.
Unless your name is Julian, and then you get
then you get the special shit. Sorry, was I not supposed to say shit? Tasted at least 10 Weller Foolproofs now, including one that's not a single barrel.
Small batch.
The small batch, the just storefront one. It came in top 3 out of 12. It came in that because these guys are the best blending distillery in America. They put their stuff together and everybody loses their minds over CYPB and Old Rip and Lot B and Pappy 15. And none of that is single barrel.
And I'll say too, and steering the ship a little bit of a different way. Especially for 2019, something that my eyes became much more open to, and literally it's thanks to you and the folks here. JD Barrel Proof.
I was going to get to that, Zeke, and I want to get to that before.
Yeah, we did two barrels. They were fantastic.
I think in Zeke Baker's eyes, 2019 was the year of the JD Barrel pick.
Oh, completely. But I think literally every single person that asked me why I was so high on them, was like, I don't own stock in this. I'm not selling or flipping them. I'm telling you, go and drink good booze. Here's something that everybody is overlooking. And I was equally as guilty of it. But damn, 9 folks out of 10 that taste one say, well, you assholes weren't lying.
We have blind tasted 200 people on this bottle of Jack Daniels, and we have had one person out of 150 to 200 say, smells a little like some Brown Forman yeast. And that was some super taster freak who was here. But nobody knows what this is. And everybody loves it. I don't pitch it because it was picked on my birthday. So
I should just mention that the Dad's Drinking Bourbon pick will be it's here. Zeke and I have not been able to get it muled down to us because it was sent to Chicago, but we do have a pick that we split with Flight Club, and huge fans of the Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof. Zeke was a part of a few picks of this. There's another pick that we are a part of, this one, and one that we should have coming up here soon that we're psyched for. But, sitting there and doing a pick with Jeff Arnett was the best damn experience I've had.
For those of, us, quote unquote, that get balls deep into whiskey and truly appreciate, like an experience. Because at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about.
Jeff was the best.
What was your experience with this or that? Or how much did it really weigh or mean to you?
Here's the thing I'll say about Jeff Arnett, right? This is the guy who is the master distiller for the biggest whiskey company in the whole entire world. Puts his phone in his pocket, sits there and talks to you about his life, where he was, how he got to Jack Daniel's, and gave you as much time as you wanted. If we sat there and
it's your pick. I want you to leave happy. Go thieve as much as you need to.
We thieved as much as we needed to, and we blinded it. The funny thing is, we got down to 3. There was one that we liked a little bit more. One of the guys that was in our group actually tried to pull a fast one, and he blinded the one we liked the least.
Twice.
That was the one that he liked the most. Jeff just sat there and said, "You guys do what you need to. I want you to be happy."
I always ambiguous answers. I'm not going to tell you which one's my favorite.
I'll tell you at the end.
I'll give you a play-by-play of how I would describe each of them. But literally, anybody that does picks or has the opportunity to, look at JDBP because it's good and it's an experience that you won't forget.
Well, I'll ramble for a second if Zeke won't, because I was born and raised, live here in Tennessee, and the Whiskey House has a Tennessee room. We don't drink that much Jack Daniels. And I'll tell you right here on Dad's Drinking Bourbon, we don't drink that much Jack Daniels.
Do you know what the funny thing is? I had regular Jack Daniels. I'm so used to having it with Coke. Everybody talks about Jack and Coke, Jack and Coke. I had a Jack this year that was neat. And I said, is this a finished whiskey? Because it was so sweet. It's just crazy. You don't have regular Jack very often ever neat. You're never going to have that 80 proof stuff.
I got to tell you, my parents went to college at Tennessee Tech with Jimmy Bedford. I'm 56 years old as of last week.
56 years young.
Young. I can tell you this Jack Daniel's barrel proof single barrel stuff
is my favorite pick of the year.
It's my pick of the year. And I've poured it for 100 guys from Kentucky, and not a single one of those assholes can pick this as Tennessee whiskey.
No, it's
and
so
I love
nutty.
Those guys, I called them assholes. I'm sorry.
But here's the thing.
It's after midnight. A lot of stuff flies.
Here's the thing about it is it doesn't have the typical Brown Forman banana. It's more of a nutty, that Whiskey House pick. I mean, Zeke, it is late. We got to wrap this up at some point. Let's talk about this for a second. JB, go sit back down. I know you're getting excited. JB's getting very, very excited. Zeke, give me your whiskey of the year and your pick of the year. Close your eyes, top of your head, first thing that comes to your mind. This is taking way too long. I thought this was going to be quick.
I'll go.
You asked me a difficult question.
All right, JB, you go first.
My whiskey of the year is Bellmead Honey.
And what's your pick of the year?
Pick of the year, Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof Cask Strength. If you see it on the shelves, 128 to 135, buy that.
Andrew, what about you?
The whiskey of the year would be the Stag Junior, the recent batch, the 132. Is that batch 12 or 13?
I can't count that high.
The recent Stag Junior, I'm a huge fan of. And if I had to pick my my barrel pick of the year, I know I'm biased. The JD Barrel Proof, the JB's birthday bourbon.
All right, Zeke, what about you?
Still torn. I don't know. Not to be self-promoting, but I mean, I loved the Russells we picked. I love the Jack we picked. I think in general this year, honestly, Jack is where my eyes open the most.
So Zeke is saying that Dad's drinking bourbon picks were his picks of the year?
I mean, if you don't enjoy them, then why pick them?
Exactly. I mean, I think we haven't talked about it yet, but Drank More Turkey, the CNF, was a special pick. That's one of those ones that we will talk about for a very, very long time.
I'm say not tooting my own horn, but
toot.
Again, kind of going back to experiences and, you know, why we're all in the hobby at the end of the day. I can't not equate that experience to one of the best things I've done.
I didn't say that because I was drinking them at home. Sorry.
JB was like, I already finished both of mine. Zeke, I have to agree with you. You know, Drank More Turkey, the CNF, our Jack Daniels Barrel Proof. I think Barrel Proof from Jack Daniels has surprised me the most this year. I am a tie between Saffel and Four Roses limited edition small batch. Those were my favorite. I really like that limited edition small batch. I mean, the BTAC, I like the Handy. I like the Eagle Rare.
Eagle Rare's
was very happy to have that Eagle.
It stepped its game up.
All I'm basically saying is shit. There's a lot of stuff I like. That Michter's 20, I really like tonight. There's a lot of good stuff going on in whiskey. The Angel's Envy Cast Strength Unicorn Blend that we had this year was frigging phenomenal.
You can open it and smell it from feet away.
I remember when we were at the Icon.
I don't smell it like John's feet. I mean, like you can be feet away and smell just the...
We were at an apartment building and we were in the common area and it was a big common area and you pop that thing open and you could smell it on the other side of the room.
I was scared to taste it, not because of the smell, but literally I was like, I can tell how strong that is of a profile, and once I taste this, it's all I will taste.
If JB's pouring it, I mean, this is the only thing.
It's 2019, right?
This is the only thing.
Are we 29? Are we finishing? Because
yeah, we're finishing.
This will freaking close down.
This is closing down the night. This is it. This is
your night.
You are done when you have this.
So laughably, where I wanted to go was simply, and I did not notice it until we were just sitting here shooting the breeze. But again, going back to experiences. So Nate from 5280 was in town last week. We hung out here, him and some of his boys doing some picks.
And sorry, Nate, I missed you.
And he dropped off their most recent Russell's pick. Looking at the label, it was distilled 12/23/09. We're well past midnight. It's 12/23, folks.
Shit, yeah, it is. Sorry.
Are you ending this on Thunder Chicken?
I am, and I just laugh. To me, it's a full circle moment of like, all right, here's friends that I wouldn't have or know if it wasn't for bourbon. Probably wouldn't have hung out with them if it wasn't for the space we have here. And you look at this juice that happened to be distilled the same day 10 years ago. Call it quirky, call it sentimental. At the end of the day, this shit just seems to happen for a reason.
JB, thank you.
Thanks for y'all coming here.
Andrew, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It has been a blast. Zeke, going through another year with you is always an adventure.
I'm not helping you move ever again.
It's another year, but it's your last move.
Hopefully I'm not moving for another 15 years.
I'm just saying. These arms are only going to get weaker, probably.
If you leave Nashville, I will gladly help you move. On that note, I want to let you know that this show is sponsored by CaskCartel.com, changing the industry standard as to how you get your alcohol. If you're sitting on the couch and you're lazy like Zeke, he doesn't want to lift stuff, he doesn't want to help his friends move, but you're like helping your friend move and you realize, oh shit, I'm on a mezcal. I'm out of tequila, I'm out of whiskey, I'm out of scotch, I'm out of bourbon, whatever it is, go to caskcartel.com. They will hook you up with a merchant and get it sent right to your door. Also follow them at Cask Cartel on Instagram. They are always doing awesome giveaways. They just did a huge Pappy giveaway. And as of today is Christmas. This is when this is going to come out. We are doing a giveaway for two samples of Old Rip 10. One is going to go away on our Facebook group at Dad's Drinking Bourbon on Facebook. One is going to go on Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. JB is also going to give the winners, two winners, a sample of the Cask Strength Unicorn Blend Angel's Envy Finished Rye. Go to www.caskcartel.com or Cask Cartel on Instagram. Follow them. They are changing the industry standard. They are awesome people. Get the world's greatest spirits delivered directly to your door. Also want to let you know that all glassware on this show was provided by DistilleryProducts.com. DistilleryProducts.com is the place where all the distilleries go. Every distillery I have been to, I'm like, hey, where do you get your Glens from? They go, DistilleryProducts.com. They not only have Glens, they have the wheat Glencairns, they have the Tua glass, they have the Dram glass, they have the Canadian Glencairn, they have this wobbly little Glencairn right now that's awesome, that you can kind of spin around on the table and it's not going to fall over. They have flasks, they have decanters, whatever it is. Go to DistilleryProducts.com. If you want me to hook you up with them, go ahead and reach out to me. I will be happy to get you in touch with them. Zeke, happy 2019. And now we are going to go into 2020.
Hey, enjoy your friends. Enjoy your pours. Enjoy your time. At the end of the day, it's all any of us have.
JB, what do you have coming out?
I got nothing. I have.
That's it?
No,
that's how you want to close out 2019?
Yeah, 2019. I've got a bunch of bottles that came from a bunch of great people. And just happy to know you guys. Come have a pour with us.
Andrew, what about you?
Just looking forward to the next year. A lot of great times at the Whiskey House. More friends. Lots of great pours. Going to be a good year.
Indeed.
And I just want to say, if you haven't sought out the Whiskey House yet, great organization in Nashville and 12 South. You can pretty much get any pour you could ever dream of here, but they are also a 501c3 and they are doing good things for people in the community, whether or not they're donating bottles or donating tastings or getting people out to help charity. Go ahead and check out Whiskey House Nashville. Zeke, people can find us on Facebook at Dad's Drinking Bourbon, Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon, Twitter at Bourbon Dads. You can find us wherever you download your podcast. Zeke, where else can the folks find us?
In the back room over here, snoring with Grossman.
JB, Andrew, all the folks listening, thank you for listening. We couldn't do this without all of you. At the end of the year, it's one of those times where we are just grateful to know you. We're grateful you listen, and thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Cheers, ciao, aloha. I know. Say aloha.
Ciao.